There's several things that you need to be. You have to understand AI, but not AI in the sense of, hey, shiny new toy, but understand AI in regards to its capability to give you data that allows you to personalize. And so you understand what the data is telling you from a reactive perspective, but more importantly, you're using the data that tells you what needs to happen next. So you've got to be a bit of a data science or a data geek, in my opinion, if you're going to sit in that CX seat. What we're talking about is understand the signals. So if you think about companies like Netflix, for example, they're very good at understanding your behaviors and those signals and orchestrating the business around that. So you got to be comfortable with the data. I think the other thing is that, okay, so now the flip side of it, you still have to understand humans, because the AI is going to allow you to move a lot faster with mundane tasks. It's going to allow you to do things at scale that are kind of lower level, which means that the more complex issues, the things that are thornier, so think about healthcare discussions and things like that, where it's like, hey, these are fraught with emotions that we need to be able to handle them a certain way. You're going to need someone who has that emotional intelligence, that EQ, if you will, to solve those problems. So the upskilling that's necessary from a CX perspective becomes even more important in the world of AI. I think the other thing that is going to be important, and I touched on this, is true omni-channel, meaning that you've looked at the entire journey of a customer and you've orchestrated it, and you can understand how to be a storyteller from that perspective and saying, what are the critical moments that matter? I was speaking to my wife about this, my time in travel, and we take these trips, but I said, think about all the different things that happen from you searching for a flight to you actually getting on an airplane, and all the different things that happen in your experience, to whether it's your check-in experience, whether you have the electronic ticket, whether you get upgraded. It's so many different pieces along that journey. So you need to be thinking in those terms of, how do I orchestrate this in a way where I can map the things that matter and look at the entire experience, regardless of what groups it touches? I'm looking at it holistically. And I think the last piece is, I would say that you've got to be a bit of a storyteller. If you're going to get the rest of the business to buy in and make people care, then you got to be able to illustrate to the business like the ROI, how it affects them, how it affects the customer, how to make their life easier. How do you become a bridge builder, a consensus builder? Because in order to do that orchestration, we need everybody involved. So it's got to be, going back to incentives and all these other things that get people to care about CX in that way. If I were to say a bonus one, you got to be an operator. And I think it goes without saying, but you actually have to know the business. And I'm not going to call out any departments, but what I will say is your tech stack and all these other things aren't necessarily going to be as powerful as they can be if you don't understand the business and how they need to be applied. So you have to understand your business and be that operator who can connect the dots, get people motivated, and then orchestrate the entire journey.